Hey folks, Jeff here. I know we've been kind of hitting on this Patreon thing pretty hard the last couple of weeks, and I know that we're going to keep doing it from now probably into perpetuity, and there's a lot of reasons for that, and we'll get into those later some other time. But what I wanted to do was give you guys kind of a sneak peek or a taste, if you will, of what it is that you are missing over on Patreon. So this is a bit of the conversation I had with Deb and Jocelyn for episode 304. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit, and maybe you'll see why we find some merit in you becoming part of the family at patreon.com/DFEN Media, DEFEN Media. Regardless, enjoy this little bit. So Carrie Jackson and I were talking about that. Welcome, by the way, to the Patreon patrons only portion of this week's The Left Show, episode 304. So they do 3 weeks worth of shows at a time for the Geek Show. And then on Sundays in between for the other two shows, he'll have just one of the guys come in and they'll cover the quick up-to-date news and do that. Whereas this show is mostly news and it expires. So if we did 3 weeks in a day, by the time the third one went around, people would be like, dude, that was fucking forever ago.
Well, I was going to say like that whole bantering at the beginning, and then a different show has the hour of actual news, and then the other hour is where we're following up on everything and talking all the gossip that is very valuable. That
would turn into an editing nightmare. Well, I mean, and the other problem is that whatever gossip we throw out, you got to know is going to get back to somebody, even if it's behind a paywall.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to talk.
Oh, I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, I want people to come to us knowing that we know the true story of what happened.
There are certain things in several directions I can't talk about because of NDAs.
Okay.
One of them in particular that I'm desperate to talk about, I got to check and see if that had an expiration date because the thing back on it, I don't think it did.
Okay. So
here's the thing. Just to go back to the topic we were talking about at the end of the show. For those of you that don't know, it's basically assault. It's women in the workplace. I have had the first time. Let me internalize this. Let me poor white guy this real quick. The first time I was accused of sexism in the workplace, I was 17 years old and I just fired a girl. I was working with a buddy doing lights and sound and theater shit, and she was just fucking awful. Skill-wise, she was really bad. Great to hang out with, one of the guys. We had a great time. She was really funny. We liked having her around. But when it came time to work, afraid of heights, couldn't figure out how the fucking light bulbs went in. We're a lighting company. You got it. It's with the you don't touch them. These 18-inch ellipsoidals with these $80 light bulbs, and if you touch it, once the oil does, the bulb gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then finally explodes, and it sounds like a recoilless rifle going off. And then that's, boom, you just lost your day's profit for at least one employee, that kind of thing. So fired her, and she's like, so sexist. I was like, wait, what? No, you're just really awful. See, you wouldn't say that if I was a guy. I'm like, no, if you were a guy, I would also fire you because you suck at this job.
Probably would have fired you sooner.
Yeah. Actually, I probably would have.
Yeah.
She's cute. I'm that guy. So
I know. That's why I knew that was.
And so I do a lot of introspective mulling of my behavior and my thoughts and my patterns. And up until, I guess, earlier this year, right? The first thing I would have said to Jocelyn was, wow, you look fantastic in that t-shirt, as opposed to fantastic t-shirt.
Yes.
Which it is a fantastic t-shirt.
It is.
But you wear it well.
Thank you.
Yes. Distractingly well. But that's my fucking issue. Now, what I don't do, because I'm not an asshole in that particular flavor, is obsess on it, point at it, stare at them. I'm not that guy. And I've noticed, I've taken note, I've moved on with my day. Okay? Because you walked in wearing you, and that's not a thing to be fucked with about. Unless you're like my buddy Jake and he's wearing one of his weird shirts with the foil dragons on them. then I get to make fun of what he's wearing. But, and so I know I toe a line. I really know I do. And I have crossed that line from time to time. But usually with people I'm quite close with. And it gets heard by people out in the wild and runs amok. Belle told some girlie she had nice tits. But one, she probably did, right?
True.
Because you're not gonna lie. So if you liked what you heard and you want to hear more, go over to patreon.com/DFEN DEFEN media, and become a member of the family. I think it's important because not only does DFEN Media make these shows, The Left Show, the world's greatest comic book podcast, Geek Therapist, Tell Me a Story, and other shows that are upcoming, we also serve as a low-cost professional alternative for nonprofits and charities to find affordable advertising for their cause. It's more than just the sound of our own voices, and it's more than just the pushing of our shows. These shows hopefully generate the revenue that we need to keep moving forward for good causes and good people. We're fighting for the future, and we hope that you will take a few moments to join us. Won't you? Patreon.com/DFENmedia or theleftshow.com, worldsgreatestpodcast.com, geektherapist.com, and find the link to our Patreon page there.